One of the great benefits of Power Apps is it's very easy to use. And once you get some of this code down, right, some of these variables, you're going to find that it's pretty easy to create anything you want. So today we're going to run through a gallery that can be viewed, modified, add to, deleted, and we're going to be able to search within it, all within one screen. So stand by, we're going to jump right to it. So here on the screen, as you can see, this is not for, we're not trying to make this look pretty. We're trying to make it be functional so that you can take these core components that I'm going to explain to you here and use them within your application. So let's go ahead and break this down, get out of preview mode here, and let's break this down and see what we have. So here within this screen right here, we have gallery, and you can see that it's a full gallery. Now remember, you have to click on the top one there to modify that and put in information. We have these boxes here, this item, right, default. So we have these items right here, default, right? So we've named this. Now we should name these as specific text input of whatever it is, but we haven't yet. And then there's the name. So I'm going to show you some of those tricks in a minute. And then over here, we have this step-by-step. So let's just go through this step-by-step together. Pause the video, do the step, and then come back and watch how we've done it. So here we need to start with a data source. So you're going to start with a blank canvas. And what that means is when you go up here to create a new canvas, which I'm not going to do, just create a canvas that's blank. Okay. And then the next thing is we need to connect to a data source. Now remember, your data source is here, and we click add data. And today we're running on data source sample right there. Do you see it right there? And sample is a SharePoint list that I use to do these demos. And here's that sample list. Notice here that I have these items here. Now, you're not going to need all of them for this video, but here are all of the items that I have within that sample list. And just so you know what I have, let's go into the site content. So you can take a screenshot of this sample. We're going to go to settings here. And then you're going to see here in just a minute what type of fields I have. So if you want to create the list exactly like I have it, just go through and create these fields. Remember, title. Some of these are default, like modified, created. So just go through whichever ones aren't, like notes, multiple. So you can see here most of these are text fields. So go ahead and do that so that you at least have an idea of what we're putting in the data. Okay, and then you can see here the code. So we've done that. First one, create that, connect to the list. Remember, we're going to add SharePoint. If you don't know how to do this, see other videos. But basically, just type in SharePoint. SharePoint will pop up. You pick the list. It's really not that complicated. All right, and so let me squeeze that in. Sorry, it's a little smaller. I just wanted to make sure you could see everything on the screen properly. Okay, so that's first thing. Next thing we need to do is insert a gallery right here. Insert a gallery. So go to gallery right here, and it says insert vertical blank. All right, so you can see here, add the needed fields to the first row of the gallery. Default code, this item dot name. Okay, name is from the list called sample. Okay, so you can see here we've inserted the blank gallery. You're going to see it as blank, and then you want to click on. It'll be blank here, and click on it. It'll say add something to the gallery. You click on that, and then go up here to insert, input, text input. Okay, so that's the field that you use. Insert, input, text input, and then we're going to get these text fields right here. Notice I'm setting on default, and this item dot name. Okay, this item dot number, and those are both here, name and number from within my list. Okay, easy enough. We did that. So there's the code that you need right there, this item.name. Okay, then we're going to add a save button. Now this save button is going to loop through and see everything inside of here that has changed. All right, but out of order here is, and I skipped it on accident, is this checkbox right here. So we're going to need to put this checkbox in. So to do that, you're going to hit insert, and then where's insert, input, You can use a checkbox or a toggle, it doesn't really matter, but it ends up being this right here. And then you see here where it says default code. So you want to go to default right here, go up to default, and this is the code that you need. This item dot whatever the name of the field is. In this example, it's name, and then whatever the text field is that's taking its input. Now, I didn't do that in this one. Let me show you an example of one where I've changed this. I don't want to change this because I use this for videos, but let me show you an example that makes this a little bit easier. So I wanted to kind of show you the right and the wrong, and you can see other videos to see what I'm building here. But here, just look at this gallery. We're in the same thing. We have the same type of gallery. Now I've hidden this. As you can see right here, visible is set to off. And notice that I've named them. So this field right here, topic name, is the name of the field in the list. Text topic name is the name of this field, right? One of these right here. Where is it? Oh, right there. So this is topic name. Notice text topic name. Notice that the toggle then is logical, so that when you're setting this up, especially if you have like multiple things, this one only has a few, but if you have one that has a ton of stuff in it, you want these to be the same, right? Note, text note, etc., right? Get the drift? So when we go back to this gallery here, and we're looking at this checkbox in the past, just a few minutes ago, it was a toggle switch, but it's a text box. Notice here that it's disjointed, right? Name, text input 3. And you're going to have to set up and know where the fields are inside of galleries for this little check thing that's going on here, which we're going to write to here in just a minute, and the save button. So my suggestion, before you get to this step right here, checkbox, right after you get here, go through and name these as we named them here inside of here, text note, text. And I always use the name that's in the list itself. Okay, so that's going to make life a lot easier for you. So, but we're going to drive on here. The default code, what we're doing here is we're calling out the name, and we're saying if it's not equal to what I see in this box, then I'm going to trigger this right here. I'm going to make that check. And so remember when we did that, we went here and we added something. We added something to it, right? It's looking at it, and it's not equal, right? And so it's going to check that off. And then when we remove it, it's going to deselect it. I'm going to tell you here in just a minute why we did that. Okay, so that's the next step. So do that. And you're going to have to do it for every single field, right? Remember, this is input, right? Number, name. If you have a ton of fields in here, you got to put them all in. All right. Next thing we want to do is the save button. The save button is right here. So what the save button does, before we pull this down, you can see the code. And the code, by the way, is all right here. Okay, so these backslashes right here, that you can add them to your code, by the way, to put a note in, but just know that anything after these two slashes here, forward slashes, that it won't go, it doesn't do anything. It's just a note. So it's all this right here. So we're going to show you this in just a second. So what does this do? This takes and says, okay, if anything changes, meaning that this has a checkbox, right? We just talked about that. If anything changes, then save it back to the list. What you're preventing is if you have a large list, you don't want the save to go through every single field every single time. That would create a performance issue. So what we do instead is we just see what's modified, and then that's the one that we check in on. So let's take a look, see what that code is. Okay. Now, remember again, this is just notes, right? Doesn't have to be in there. Okay. So here, let's walk through this. So we're setting up a filter. We're saying for all. So basically for everything in this gallery. Notice that the gallery is in green right here. For everything in gallery 4. And notice that this is green and this is green. Okay, so it's kind of helping us see where things are. Okay, for all items, if the checkbox 4, which is his checkbox, which is this checkbox. If it's true, then do this. And what this is a patch. So we're going to patch that information over to this list sample for that specific record. So for whatever record you selected, okay? And then wherever the change is. You haven't selected it, by the way, wherever the change is. Because remember, in this example here, the toggle switch is actually hidden, which I would suggest you do. Having this switch exposed is confusing for the user, so I always hide it. Here, we want to put in text input 3 to, so name, this is the name of the field, and then text input 3 is where we're getting the data. Let's go back up. Text input 3, and right there. And then text input 3.1 is the number. Now notice with the number, we used a value field in front of the field so that we could basically take that numeric value and convert it into text. Okay? And then right here at the end, we're going to run a refresh. This is the name of the list. So we're going to basically refresh that data so that when you make that change, it appears on the screen. Okay? So you could pause here. That's what that does. And it's all written right here in the code. The next thing we want to do is add a button. We want to put the add button in here. Now the add button basically is going to add a new row. Now let's go ahead and take a look at that code. Here, it's just a basic code, right? We're going to put patch, the name of the list, default, the name of the list, and then we're going to put in squigglies here, the name of the field, the column name inside of the list. In this example, it's name. And then we're going to put in some text, new record. I put in a unique, new record is pretty unique, but you can put in a unique identifier because when you get to a large group of data and you start creating records, this new record shows at the very top of the list, but if you have 10 entries for the day, it appears at the bottom of that day's entries. So sometimes I just put in the new record, then I just search for new record and pop into it. So I'll show you that. And then, in fact, you can see another video. It talks about productivity, about an app that was developed, notes and actions, and that shows you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's add. So we're gonna want to add right here. Delete. So when we delete, we want to put the delete. Notice I'm inside of gallery 4. Click on here, and when I insert this, and by the way, to add that button, we just hit insert icons, add. Okay, it's not that tough. Here, when we want to insert a delete, we want to make sure that we've got the gallery. I always click on the gallery, and then I click on the first set, right? Because this represents everything. The way you can double check that is this. Sometimes you click on gallery and you hit insert and you hit an icon and you put it up there and you get it all lined up. You say, oh, that looks great. Notice that it's not appearing anywhere else. That's a clear indicator that you did not select the top. So to get rid of this, cut it, click on here, and then paste it, which is Control V as in Victor. Now notice that the X appears everywhere. That means that when you click on play, it's going to appear in all of your records. Okay, and that's what you want. So we're going to get rid of that. So just a little side note. So here we got the delete. We're going to go ahead and select delete. Notice here's the code, and here is the code. This is the select parent, which is the default, by the way. Remember, these semicolons are giving us different commands. Here we're going to remove from the list this item, which is the item we're selected on, and then we're going to refresh. Pretty simple. Okay, now we're going to change from edit to view. Now the video is running a little long, so you can see these, but there's two different buttons here. So we need to do something that I don't have on the list here. So hopefully you're still watching this, because this is a real gotcha if you didn't do this. Value, this variable right here called edit gal. And we're going to just click on app over here, and we're going to set this to false. You sit here, set it to false. And then when we go down into this gallery here, when we go down into these view screens, notice here that we want to edit, we're going to set it to true, and we want to view, we're going to set it back to false. So when it's set to false, it's view only. So when you look at it here and you click on view, it's everything's set to false so you don't see it. Now we're going to go over how to do this more in one of the pop-up videos, the videos that talk about pop-up screens, which we'll be doing here in a little bit. So here's the code to get this set up. So you want to go to the app right here, and this, we're really talking about edit and view. Now, if you don't want to set up edit and view, which by the way, I usually do not set up edit and view, you can skip this whole section here and not create this. But if you decide to, we want to go and follow this, basically exactly what it says here. I'm not going to walk through it because our video is getting a little long, but by default, I always have it set up so that it's edit view, because it doesn't make sense to me to flip this to a view because I'm editing the data. So for me, I just keep it in this mode, and I can just go through, and then I can set certain fields at times to view. But for me, I don't really do this, but here is the code to do that. So just walk through this code, and it's going to talk to you about the edit and view buttons. I'm sorry, it's just a brief explanation on this part, edit, view, resetting. So the key takeaway here is go to app, on start, set the variable to false, and then in your app, set it to true to edit, and then set it to view to false. So if you want to play with that, there it is. And let's do the last thing, since we're running short on time here, is we want to add a search button. Now, we have other videos that talk about search buttons, but this is no different. We want to add this into our mix, right? And so we're just going to do a text, insert text box, and we're going to put it in here. The key here is, remember where it says default, we don't want any value there. We want to put here hint text, whatever we're searching for. But if you have a value here, it won't find anything, right? If it says no value, it won't find anything. So we want to make sure that's blank. And then we want to go down here, and we want to go to put that in, okay? And I say here, remove on the right side of the gallery. And then we want to click on the gallery itself. So select the gallery from here, and then go to items, and then type this in. And what we're doing is search by columns. All right, search, this is the name of the list. This is the name, again, it'd be nice if this was called TXT search, for example, but this is the name of the search box right here. And we've chosen to search on name. That's what this is right here. We're searching on this. Now, can we do multiple? Yes. We can just add a comma behind that and search on other values. Okay, so, but we're just searching on name in this example. And then we're going to put in what we're going to sort by. And in this case, we're going to sort by the name too, so it comes out alphabetical. So pretty simple stuff right there. And then that allows you to search within this. So for example, here, I want to search for Joe Snuffy. I can search for Joe Snuffy. And the example I told you about before was when I click on add, you see how new record comes down here? Now I have some sorts that will take care of that, but it's pretty easy. Just type in new record, right? And then I can just add this and say pan egg. So we'll just name this pan egg. Notice the modified here is good. We're going to hit save. Notice it went away, and now I can't see new anymore. I can delete that and search for pan, and there's pan right there. And then I can go over to my list itself. Let's go back up to sample here, and pan should be in there. We're going to have to refresh, of course. Okay, pan egg is right there. And then when I go, let's find pan egg again, and we're going to hit. Now remember, I can do whatever I want here, add data, things like that, but let's just go ahead and hit delete. We're going to delete that. Now it goes away. There we go. And we didn't have to hit save. I just accidentally did. I didn't want to do that so you could see that it deletes it. But here it is right here, pan. Remember, on the delete key itself, when we hit delete, we have a refresh, so it's going to automatically refresh. And that's about it. Now you've got a very easy to use gallery that lists all the data out. It's very easy to modify. Oh, I wanted to show you how to hide this. Go here to visible off. Now it doesn't hide it forever. Just know that it's right there. If you need to see it again, you can turn it back on for troubleshooting or whatever. Another small little trick we'll do here is enable clear button. So we'll go there, and then when we go here and we type in pan, for example, notice the X there, and it'll clear everything out. So it just makes life a little easier.